Hi, folks. This is Don Meisner with the North Country Fishing Report. You know, this year we've talked a lot about different lines, and I've gone on and on about braided line. But I've been also thinking about trout fishing, and in my whole life, I never used braided line for trout fishing because back years and years ago, that was only used on bait casting reels. It wasn't part of what we did. But braided line, and keep in mind, what makes braided line so special is that it doesn't stretch. And because it doesn't stretch, it allows the transmission of feeling to go through that line so much better. It's not absorbed in the line as it stretches. So if I'm fishing really light, ultralight spinning rods and reels, and I'm fishing for trout, and these aren't really big fish, then I'm wondering, wouldn't my fishing be all the better if I was using braided line? Because braided line is so thin. It is unbelievably thin. It's like a human hair almost in thinness. So you can cast a long ways. You can use light lures and still get them out there in the water. But here's what I wanted to tell you today. As I have used braided line more and more in the last few years, I've come to realize that there really is different qualities of this braided line. It's not all created equal. And I'll give you an example. There's a brand, and it's sold in Walmart right now, of braided line that you can see one box that is half as expensive as another box of the same brand, but it's a different formula, and it'd be the same pound test. And so I've bought this more expensive line, and the difference is unbelievable. It's smoother, it's slicker, and it lays on the reel differently. It lays smoother on the reel. When you cast it, it doesn't seem to be as prone to tangles. So my point is, as I get new reels or as I respool my reels, I am going to spend the extra money to get the better braided line because I think it's going to make my fishing experience better. One of the things I've gone on about telling you is the tangles that you can get from especially the lighter pound test braided lines if you're fishing in the wind, or if you're fishing with really light lures, or if you're doing finesse fishing where you're not constantly reeling against a resistance. You're letting your line go slack and waiting for a tap and then bringing, and that gives the line a chance to loop and tangle in the reel. And so by using this higher quality braided line, I really think this is extremely important to pass on to you because it's made a difference in the enjoyment I have in fishing. If I'm not worried so much about the line tangling, and the line forming all these unbelievable bird's nests that you can end up spending an hour trying to get out, or you just cut your line and start over, but then you got less line on your reel. Then your reel won't cast as far. And so there's always pros and cons to everything that we do. But I would suggest the next time you look for braided line, look for some of the more expensive brands. Sometimes you're just paying for a name, but I think a lot you're paying for a different sort of coating on this braid, the way the braid is actually formed, that will make it a better tool to make you enjoy fishing even more. Until next time, folks, this is Don Meisner with the North Country Fishing Report.